Hey everyone, this is Kane. I'm here on WWE Photo Shoot, and I hope you enjoy these pictures from throughout my career. I hope they're good. That's Al Snow and me as the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Originally, my tag team partner was Eddie Gilbert, who I'd met in Puerto Rico. And we did one set of television tapings, and then Eddie went back to Puerto Rico, and Jim Cornette was looking for someone to take that spot and came across this young guy that was really hot on the independent scene named Al Snow.
I saw the Ultimate Killing Machine standing around doing nothing, and I thought, hey, the Ultimate Wrestler ought to take the Ultimate Killing Machine and make a true tag team.
Almost as soon as I got into Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I got a tryout set up with WWE. Jim Ross was doing commentary for Cornette at Smoky Mountain.
I think business just picked up.
Called Vince and said, you need to take a look at this guy.
330 pounds. Can you believe this guy's power? This guy's awesome.
Got a tryout set up, it went really well, and the rest is history. Isaac Yankem, DDS. That's a face that only a mother can love.
How could a dentist have teeth this rotten?
That's the sacrifice that this man makes to show all of these little idiots out there what can happen to you if you don't brush after every meal.
The story was that Jerry Lawler had lost a Kiss My Foot match to Bret Hart, and when Bret put his toes in Jerry's mouth, it caused Jerry to have some tooth decay, so he found a dentist who could fix it, and that dentist was Dr. Isaac Yankem.
Been neglecting our dental hygiene, haven't we?
I never saw myself as a wrestling dentist. I always saw myself as a big guy taking care of business, and didn't feel that my business should have been taking care of people's teeth. But being able to work with him, that was probably the only good thing that came out of this character for me anyway. So this is right after Isaac Yankem DDS. I was in South Africa. Jerry Briscoe came to me and said, when you get back to the States, you need to call Vince. And they had this idea. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall had recently gone to WCW in Atlanta. Gist of it was that JR had found some replacements.
And in just a couple of moments, I'm going to bring Big Daddy Cool Diesel and Razor Ramon right out here.
It was me and Rick Bogner. He was in ECW, and he had a character which parodied Razor Ramon and did it really well.
Douglas, I got no problem with you, man.
So they brought us in.
This contest is scheduled for one fall. About to come down the aisle from Miami, Florida, weighing 287 pounds, the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Talk about Milli Vanilli, what's this? I never mentioned Scott Hall's name or Kevin Nash. You recall me ever mentioning their names? No, you don't.
A lot of people thought that the faux Diesel and Razor Ramon was fatally flawed. I actually didn't think so. I thought it was a good concept, but the thing was that Jim Ross is never going to be a bad guy to our audience, especially at that time.
His contract says his name is Razor Ramon.
But what's his real name?
But ultimately, the positive aspect was the fact that it allowed me to get experience. I started in the wrestling business in 1991. And 4 years later, I was in WWE. Frankly, I wasn't prepared. My work wasn't really good enough when I was Isaac Yankem. So I made a lot of adjustments, and I felt that with the Diesel character, my work was good enough. It just, the character was just something that the audience didn't gravitate to. But I knew then that I belonged in WWE, and I knew that I could be a top-flight performer. I learned that working through this character. And this is the next one. So we all know the story about Kane. He's The Undertaker's half-brother. There was some controversy about what happened, but evidently there was a house fire, and Kane was in the house and ended up being institutionalized unbeknownst to The Undertaker.
Kane is alive, Undertaker! He's breathing! Kane's alive! I swear!
And this was the concept for the Kane character. When I first saw it, I was like, man, you know, I thought something kind of like Jason Voorhees or something like that. This was opposite of that. And I remember I called Vince and, you know, we talked about it. And Vince is very good about taking input, and he realizes that the things that we do are collaborative. What he explained to me was that, yeah, we could do that with Kane. Or we could go deeper into his psyche. We would discover that this over-the-top cool look is compensating for what he feels. He's scarred in the fire and disfigured and all those sort of things. So he compensates for it by essentially donning a superhero outfit. It was brilliant. In the end, it worked. So there's the debut. And some people say it's the best debut in the history of WWE. I tend to agree with them. Not because of anything that I did, but because the table had been set. Paul Bearer had been talking about Kane for months. I mean, you have a character that the people already know, but they hadn't seen him up until this point.
Dead man! Your brother Kane is coming! You, Undertaker, are gonna burn in hell! Undertaker, I promise you, you'll burn in hell!
So, of course, when I debuted at Bad Blood, everybody knew who it was.
Oh my God, wait a minute, it's Paul Bearer! It's Paul Bearer! And that's gotta be Kane!
And, you know, ripped the door off the Hell in the Cell cage and got in there with Undertaker. The pyro cue that I used where I raised my arms and throw them back down, that was his idea because it was the opposite of what he would do. He would raise his hands and bring the arena lights up. I was the opposite of him, so I'd throw my hands down.
Oh my!
Lifted him up and tombstoned him, essentially beating him with his own move. And then leaving him laying in the ring. No one ever left The Undertaker in the ring a broken mess. When you talk about impactful debuts, that ranks way, way up there. Me and my dad, Paul Bearer. Paul's one of the greatest characters in WWE history. He would always keep things light, and he liked to laugh, and he liked to rib people.
Anybody seen The Undertaker? Oh, hell, there's a chair stuck. Get away from here!
But I often end up being the target of it.
My Kane will beat you into pieces! Oh, the sledgehammer broke.
On a personal note, Bill Moody, who portrayed Paul Bearer, he was instrumental also in my success as Kane because there's a lot of things that, as far as, you know, pressure and stress, and you're in this situation now where you're one of the top stars in the company, and he really helped me through all that. He would book our travel for the both of us. He didn't have to do that, but he did because he wanted to make things as easy as he could on me. I would venture to say he was instrumental in helping not only myself, but also The Undertaker achieve the status that we did. All Taker had to say was rest in peace, and Paul would do the rest of it. And then with me, even more so, he was the bridge between us that allowed the rivalry to flourish. So I owe him a real debt of gratitude for everything that he helped me with. My first world championship.
The winner of this bout and new World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane!
Unfortunately, and I'm still upset about this to this day, Mick Foley overshadowed me that night because that was also the night that Mick Foley, as Mankind, went flying off the top of the cell and then flying through the cell. So no one probably ever remembers that I also won the world championship that night. I lost it the next day in Cleveland, Ohio on Monday Night Raw back to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And, you know, folks will say, well, you only held it for a night. Well, I mean, so did Andre the Giant. You know, how many people actually win a championship throughout their career? Not that many. So that really was confirmation that I could be one of the top superstars in WWE. Major League Baseball's all-time hit king, Pete Rose. This is my first WrestleMania appearance. This is right before the match with Undertaker. That would have been WrestleMania 14 in Boston. Now, the thing about Pete is if he hadn't been a great baseball player, he had been a great heel in professional wrestling.
Last time I was here, we kicked your ass.
What? That's a way to make friends there, Pete.
As we all know, his famous World Series play that Billy Buckner basically could have ended the World Series on a ground ball that went between his legs, and then the New York Mets end up winning the series. And so Pete Rose says,
You know, I left tickets for Bill Buckner, but he couldn't bend over to pick them up. How about it?
how about it? And of course, the crowd just boos him out of the building.
He may think this is fun and games. Wait a minute! But this is how. Oh, not Pete Rose! Good God! What is it? No! That's Pete Rose! That's Pete Rose! Pete Rose just got tombstone!
It kicked off a little mini storyline that went on for a few years between myself and Pete Rose.
King, what is this? That's the chicken. What is it doing? What the hell is the chicken doing? King! That's Pete Rose! No, it can't be! Not again! What are they doing? Another tombstone to Pete Rose!
Wait a minute! Oh no, it's Pete. Pete. You should have brought your ball back, Pete. Look at Kane looking at the chicken. Kane knows, as we all do. Pete Rose, the ball back. Pete Rose. There's Pete Rose. There's Pete. Pete set up. Slam. Pete Rose just got choke slam.
It was awesome. That's The Undertaker and all of his revelry there. I will never forget at WrestleMania 14, watching Undertaker come to the ring. Even being in the ring, you got lost for a second. And I'm thinking, what the heck have I gotten myself into? You have this guy who has easily the greatest character in the history of our business. And if you think about it, it's kind of ridiculous because, you know, he's a dead man. He's this creepy dude, but he goes out there and he portrays it so well that disbelief is suspended. He's the guy that can basically get hit by a Mack truck.
Double choke slam! The dead man just said nighty night.
And then sit back up and choke slam the truck. Someone, of course, has been very influential on my career, even before I got to WWE. And my first match with Undertaker was actually in Knoxville, Tennessee at the Civic Coliseum.
He tries a right, and The Undertaker is ready for it.
Even then, he was working with me and giving me advice. You know, not only in the ring, but also how to carry yourself out of the ring and how to be a star in this business. And if it hadn't been for him in so many ways, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I don't like Christian. I've never liked Christian. One time I was walking through the Denver airport and I saw Christian. And we talk a little bit and he's like, have you had anything to eat? And I'm like, yeah, I just had a burrito. And he punches me in the stomach and then just runs away. That is Christian. So anytime that I had the opportunity to choke slam Christian, I took advantage of it. This is the Inferno match between Undertaker and myself. You know, I don't think I probably should have agreed to be in the middle of a barbecue pit, but I did. I was working with some stuntmen, and they were like, you guys are going to do this live? Yeah. And they said that it would take weeks in Hollywood to set all this up, and here we were out doing it live. People ask if it's hot. The middle of the ring isn't, but once you start getting to the outside, it is very hot.
Darren, do you feel the heat out here? Hell yeah, I feel the heat. What do you think it feels like in that ring?
It was hard to do some things because, I mean, physically, you just couldn't take the heat. It was great TV and great from the performance aspect of how much can we do.
about right in your face, folks. I think my eyebrows are singed.
But also it's like, how much can we do? You know, every week literally had to top what you'd done the week before. So you end up with things like Inferno matches.
Undertaker catches it right in his hand. Oh, Kane back in the fire. Kane is on fire. Kane is on fire. He's burning. Put him out.
This is one of the world's largest tag teams. Also very successful. Big Show and myself. Interesting thing in this particular tag team is, you know, normally I'm the big guy. In this particular team, that was the opposite. I was the guy that was always getting beat up and getting a tag to show so he could come in and clean house. A little different for me, but I always had a good time. He's just a great athlete. And the fact that he's able to do the things that he's able to do at his size make it all the more impressive.
This man is a one and a half man wrecking crew. Holy cow!
I think he's the best big man ever. Before this chapter in Kane's career and Kane's storyline arc overall, you know, he was just literally a killing machine. And the reason that the relationship with X-Pac was so important was because that's when Kane actually started showing feelings.
What's the meaning of this? No! Choke slam!
That's when you realize that there is a human side to this character.
Kane! Choke slam! Kane has never had a heart until he met X-Pac.
And X-Pac was the person that brought that out.
Kane has got 2 words for you.
Can't believe this. Kane's got 2 words for us?
Suck it.
Kane speaking his first words, and they are memorable ones.
It's me and my smart car. There wasn't like a single thing to get me into running for public office.
My name is Glenn Jacobs, and I'm running for mayor of Knox County here in the great state of Tennessee.
It's just something that I kind of always have been interested in.
What's up, dude?
All of us want to make a difference in our worlds, and that's a good way to do it. But there's also a lot of hard work, as you can see in this picture here. It was a lot of work going out pretty much every day, knocking on doors, meeting people. Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Glenn Jacobs, 29,209 votes to Linda Haney at 14,678. I think it's safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, Mayor-elect Glenn Jacobs.
I was elated when I won. It was just the satisfaction of seeing all that work that not only I did, but a lot of other people supporting me did pay off.
Thank you all so very much. I am humbled by everything. Thank you.
Has anyone ever actually made it through a wedding in WWE history? This was the wedding between Lita and Edge. Of course, she's actually married to me, so I felt that I could have been the person. Anyone objects, speak now or forever hold your peace while I'm speaking right there.
By God, our Father, and the Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is right! No! It's Kane!
So over the top, and it's awesome.
Wait a minute! No! Wait a minute! No! Oh my God, no! That's the priest!
This culminated in Kane tombstoning the priest.
Oh my God! Kane is tombstone the priest!
Probably the first time it's ever happened. This was when I first took my mask off. I just had a match for the championship against Triple H, and the stipulation was that if I lost the match, I would take my mask off.
I don't know if we want to see that. Yeah, I do want to see it. We've always speculated. Here it comes! What the hell is this? His hair came out. Oh my God! Get a shot of that face! Is that a human?
never forget, we'd shaved my head part way because Bruce Pritchard, thought that was a very unique look of having half a head of hair. And I was like, that dude, that's ridiculous. So we ended up cutting the rest of it off as well. But to my mind, I'd gone as far as I could with the mask on. I mean, it adds a lot of mystique to the character, but it also didn't allow me to use my face to portray emotion. And our business is all about emotion. It's about portraying emotion to the crowd and eliciting an emotional reaction from the crowd. I felt that I was limited in that respect. And this is what we did. This was the imposter Kane. And the idea behind this storyline was having this vision of this character from my past, and it comes to reality. And it was the original Kane.
And now my man, Kane's right to the edge, right to Kane. Oh my God! Yeah! Off the top. Kane knocked all the way to the concrete floor by this Kane impersonator.
Luke Gallows was the imposter Kane. Unfortunately, it didn't quite come off like we'd wanted it to. It was very short-lived.
This is mine.
Whoa! Oh my God!
Stuff happens. We have ideas for stories, and conceptually they seem really well, and then the execution just doesn't work, or something just doesn't work, or the audience doesn't gravitate to it, or whatever. And unfortunately, this was one of those stories. Me and Daniel Bryan as Team Hell No. You want to talk about expanding the range of your character, this did it for me. I think that if you'd have told people that Kane was going to be the comic relief on the show, they'd have laughed at you. But there it is.
Congratulations, Kane.
And Kane, do you have anything that you'd like to say to Daniel?
Where are you going? You see, that's why I'm the tag team champions. That's why I'm the tag team champions. That's why I'm the tag team champions. Do I have anything to say? I'm going to Disneyland. I'm the tag team champion.
What was so much fun about this was it was such a radical departure from everything else that I had done in my career. Up until that point, my character had always been very mean and mysterious.
The WWE Universe has voted on Twitter to have Daniel Bryan and Kane hug it out tonight. And there it is. Well, that's a Daniel. There it is. Wait. Hold on, that's only one. That's all we need. We need a Kane hug.
And with this, here I am out there, basically the straight guy for Daniel Bryan's jokes, but nevertheless, it works.
There we go. Yes. There it is. They hugged it out. There it is.
Dr. Shelby, an integral part of Team Hell No. One of the greatest vignettes that WWE has ever done is the anger management vignettes.
Welcome to Anger Management. I'm Dr. Shelby. Now, you're all here because you're having anger management issues, and we're looking for ways for you to resolve them. Is there anything you'd like to tell the group about yourself?
I'm the devil's favorite demon.
Great.
One of the anger management vignettes was at a diner in Albany, New York. And Daniel and I were understanding where the other is coming from through food. Daniel's a vegan. I'm a carnivore. So I have to eat a salad, and he has to eat meat.
Take one bite. Think happy thoughts, Daniel. No. No. No! 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 No!
It ends up turning into a Harry Met Sally situation when we talk about beating people up. Then you hit another one and, ow! You hit another guy, don't!
Yes!
Please!
Yes!
Ow! Stop!
Yes!
Ow!
Yes!
Ow!
Yes!
Ow! 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 Ow!
Yes!
I'm having exactly what they're having.
So much fun. So much fun. Corporate Kane was actually one of my favorite characters, and people may be surprised to hear that. You know, I've dabbled in acting myself. In fact, my latest film, Countdown, is available right now on DVD and digital download.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's good.
You're comparing your little indie movies to my big budget films? I'm a trained thespian. I'm a star. You look like the devil's favorite insurance agent.
That's funny, yeah. I think it showed everybody that I have some range. It just wasn't always about being the silent, dark behemoth.
We are supposed to be 3 unicorns standing together, spreading magic throughout the entire WWE. And instead, what do you see in front of you right now?
Men with fingers on their heads.
No, Kane. You only see 2 unicorns, 2. And that is your fault.
I really did enjoy the Corporate Kane era. That's the Brothers of Destruction. We had that chemistry as opponents, but in the end, I don't think people ever wanted to see us fight. They wanted to see us as a tag team. I think the reason that I was able to gel with so many people as tag teams is just because I always wanted the team to work. With me and Undertaker, it's pretty simple. We destroyed everybody. You know, with me and Big Show, I had to become the little guy that got beat up. With me and Daniel Bryan, it was, the willingness to do the comedic stuff. X-Pac as well, playing my role and making sure the team was successful. And the same here. Shane Helms is a great performer. It was a successful run with him. You have to sacrifice. You have to be willing to accommodate your partner. I just always wanted the team to be successful. And overall, if you ask me why I've been in WWE as long as I have, it's because I want the company to be successful, and I'm willing to do my part in that. So that's it, everyone. That's the story of my career as told in pictures right here on WWE Photo Shoot.